Jamaica. My heart tonight is overwhelmed. Mr. Seaga has been like a father to me. Do up yourself. So Mr. Seaga, as I was saying before, my friend, who was so happy to see me. And I'm happy to see you too. But Mr. Seaga was like a father to me. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy when I travel across the country to see the outpouring of love. Not just respect, but genuine love that the people of Jamaica have expressed for a man who has given his life to the country. We wanted to do more events like this all over Jamaica, but we just couldn't manage to do it. But those that we have done have been so well attended, so well supported. People from all walks of life have come out to just stand up here, to be amongst friends, to come together to celebrate his life as a mark of respect and a show of your love for a great Jamaican. Tonight I want to acknowledge his sister, Jean. Sometimes I wonder if she was the real politician in the family. Well, she is of course now the last surviving of the Seaga siblings. Mr. Seaga had a special love for this parish. Indeed, he can trace some of his roots to this parish. His grandmother would have traced her roots here. And so, in his memoirs, he has written about the parish. And he has always admired the people of the parish for their independence. And of course, this is a parish that has given its support to the Jamaica Labour Party. And the greatest example of that is Northeast Manchester. That has stuck faithfully with Manor Yard. In this constituency, we have held it in the 80s, and of course we have come very close with our now serving Custos, who is about to retire, Sally Porteous. Sally? So as we mark the end of an era, Mr. Seaga was in our Legislative Assembly in 1959. He spent 3 years there, being in the position of what we would call a senator today. Then he represented the constituency of West Kingston, and he represented that constituency for 42 years. Won it for 10 times. Retired, not out. Now, I don't want to go through the history because it is now properly documented. It was not always accepted because there were those who tried to misrepresent him. And he was a man who was oftentimes misunderstood. But as I said in Parliament, were it not for his strength and courage of his conviction, Jamaica would have gone on a pathway that up to today we would not have recovered from. But now, having hindsight, we can all agree that that was not the pathway for Jamaica to have embarked upon. You go draw down the tune now. In many ways, you know, I didn't want to go too much into the history, but since you draw the tune, it is only now people are beginning to accept and acknowledge that Mr. Seaga was truly a founding father. Not only did he have a hand in the writing of the Constitution, but he was there in the early days of our music. And right now, one of the things that we have given to the world is the music. And he was there as one of the first producers, promoter. He was there as one of the first managers of artists. Long before that. So he is essentially one of the fathers of our contemporary music. But what I wanted to say to you tonight, who have come out to mark your respect for him and to be here in fellowship amongst the family. And it's not just JLP people. Many persons who are here are just average Jamaicans who felt touched by him and want to show. And we embrace everybody because he was a leader for the nation, a father for everybody, prime minister for everybody, a statesman for everybody. Mr. Seaga represented excellence. He always wanted things to be done to the best. And that is a principle that as a nation, we must embrace. Whatever we are going to do, let's do it to our best. That is what Mr. Seaga represented. Mr. Seaga was oftentimes characterized as a hard taskmaster. He was characterized as a firm, strong leader. Indeed, he said, all of them money and pretend like them are done. But there can only be one done. And when the flock went astray, he said, light a candle, sing a Sankey, and find your way back home. But while we may represent that in ways that are not always positive, at the core of the man was the principle of orderliness. He was an orderly person. I had the opportunity to work with him in the latter years of his political career. And I got to know him personally, worked in his business, helped him with research. I got to observe him in a very personal way. And I can tell you, he's a neat man. If you look at his desk, everything is in order. Organized mind, has everything in here, so you can put up on it very quickly. Doesn't like to see his surroundings messy. And that is a principle that he tried to have instilled, you have used the right word. When he was Prime Minister, one of the first things that he did was to try and clean up Jamaica. Clean up Kingston City, to make it beautiful, to make it orderly. And he always liked Manchester and Mandeville because it was an orderly place, a clean place. And I said to the people of this parish and the people of this town, live up to that. Keep your place clean and orderly. Because this government, as we are trying to grow the economy and create jobs, we are also concerned about the development of our townships, whether rural or urban. And we take note that for the last 40 years, our towns have just grown. And much of the growth is just, I want to use the Jamaican term, chaka chaka. And our towns are becoming dirtier and dirtier as we don't take pride in our physical surroundings. But we who come to celebrate the life of Mr. Seaga must also celebrate the principle of his life and what he represents. And that is to have order and cleanliness, because as we know, it's next to God.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Seaga was always a numbers man. And when he was doing his budget debates, he would always have all the books around him to research. So every line of fact he would put in his speech, he was able to back it up with research. And one of the things he always focused on was the growth of the economy. And our economy has not grown in any significant way. Under Mr. Seaga, it grew, yes. In the 60s, it grew. And in a part of the 90s, the economy also grew. But it has not grown in any significant way. And right now, we are growing at less than 2%. 2% growth is not enough to provide the expansion that we need, to provide the resources that we need. Now is the time, however, for growth. And there are some things that are preventing us from attaining our true growth potential, which is about 5%. One of the things that is preventing us is crime. Crime. And inasmuch as the government has to spend on the national security apparatus of the country and improve our police, it is also important that we the people have to do something. And I am not asking you to go there and fight crime. But what I'm asking you to do as parents is to fight crime in your household before it becomes crime on the streets of our country. So each of you who are parents, take a greater interest, particularly in your boy picnic at home. Because 90% of crimes are committed by males. And most of those crimes are committed by young males. And 90% of crimes are committed against males. So we as citizens, if we are going to achieve this growth in our economy, and though I say growth in our economy, it is not something that is removed from you, because when the economy grows, your household grows. Because to the mothers who are here, you are the finance minister of your household. When the economy grows, it could mean an extra fridge that you don't have, an additional room that you didn't have before. It could mean that you now have flush toilet which you never had before. It could mean that you could buy the car where you never had before. It could mean that your children go to university where you never had before. So the growth of the economy is no different from the growth of your household. But there are things that our households are doing that is preventing our economy from reaching its full potential. And those youngsters who are not properly parented, those are the ones who create the problems, who make people who have money to invest think twice. So I use this platform today as we celebrate the life of Mr. Seaga, a man who wanted to see the economic growth and prosperity of the country. That in order for us to achieve it, yes, the government must spend on the police and improve the quality of policing. But there is something that we as citizens can do. And we have to start with good parenting in our households. Hold on to your picnic and guide them in the right way. So tonight, I want to thank you for coming out. I'm very pleased with the turnout. And I'm very happy to have had the opportunity to fellowship with you tonight and to celebrate the life of the most honorable Edward Philip George Seaga. God bless you. Love you.